Hey, what's going on? This is your favorite free dispatch trainer, Antoine West, back at you guys with another video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Visit my website, AntoineWest.biz, for all your free dispatch training needs. So, in my free dispatch training programs, what I do is I give you guys all the knowledge and the experience I learned from working my full time job and living paycheck to paycheck and starting my freight dispatch business while I was still on my freight full time job. And within the first 2 months, I worked myself out of full time job. So I was at my full time job working and living paycheck to paycheck. And then I started my freight dispatch business. So what I did, I gave a lot of effort towards this business. It's a lot of benefits to working and owning a freight dispatch business. One of the biggest is you can work from anywhere with your cell phone and laptop computer. So even during while the country was shut down for the coronavirus, I made more money than ever before in my life. And what that taught me is that you want to be able to make money with your cell phone and laptop. The only thing that you should need to make money is an internet connection, and you should be able to work from anywhere. So during my second month of this business, I made $20,000. I left my full time job where I was making about 700 and something dollars a week. And then I started making $20,000 per month on my freight dispatch business. And in my courses, I teach you guys all the skills and tricks and procedures that I learned along the way to help you get to $20,000 per month like I did. But today in this video, it's a kind of sad video. What I want to talk about is the two truck drivers that died in the winter driving conditions in Wyoming. And I want to let you guys know what you can do as freight dispatchers to help your owner operators when they're driving in winter conditions. So if you guys haven't heard about it, in Wyoming, two truck drivers died. And how they died is they were driving through winter conditions in Wyoming. It was ice and snow on the road. We had one driver by the name of Keith Kohler. He was 39 years old, and his passenger, Tyler Judd, 40 years old. What happened is Keith was driving along Interstate I-80 in Wyoming, and what happened is his truck began to veer towards the left into the median, and he steered hard right to try to avoid the median, and they end up crashing into a ditch. And this is during the wintertime, so the ditch was filled with snow. And what happened is the truck rolled over a quarter of the way on the driver's side, and the front windshield broke. So how I'm taking this article, and by the way, you guys can click below to get to my blog post to read this article for yourself. But what I'm figuring what happened is the truck turned a quarter of the way. And then since it turned a quarter of the way, the windshield busted out and they end up buried in a ditch under 2 feet of snow, right? So imagine being confused, disoriented, your truck's flipped over and you're buried under 2 feet of snow in a ditch. So they basically couldn't dig their way out. They didn't have any sense of direction, and they basically end up perishing, passing away in that ditch in Wyoming. So when I see things like this, what I want to bring to your guys' attention as a freight dispatcher is to make sure you're doing your check calls. Because after this incident was investigated, it was said that the drivers were suffering from fatigue, tiredness. So if you're a dispatcher, implement a check call system where when you know your driver is driving late nights during the nighttime and they have more of a chance to be tired and fatigued, especially in winter driving conditions and snow and ice, make sure you're doing a check call. So what a check call is whatever you implement. So if you implement, you're going to call your driver every hour and you're going to talk to them for 10 minutes just to make sure that they're still woke and they're still aware. you need to be doing that as a freight dispatcher. You need to see articles and stories and events that happen like this in trucking and see how you can come up with a solution to solve a problem. So in this particular situation, it was determined that the driver was tired and he fell asleep, and his truck veered over to the left, and he tried to come back to the right, and he oversteered, and the truck flipped over a quarter of the way on the driver's side, and they went into a ditch, and the windshield broke out, and the cab of the truck filled with snow, and no one was around and seen the accident at the time. And the two drivers, it was impossible for them to dig their way out. So if these drivers had a good dispatcher who were doing check calls and they didn't hear from their driver, if you as a dispatcher, you didn't hear from the driver, you can easily call 911. At this point, what I would do, if I didn't hear from my driver and I knew they were in Wyoming and they were driving in the snow and I did a check call, I'm calling my driver every hour on the hour and I'm talking to them for 10 minutes. I do a check call and I don't hear from them, I would call 911 and I would have access to the ELD and I would let law enforcement know when the last time I talked to them, what the ELD says, where the ELD says their truck is at. So this is the way we need to look at freight dispatch. We need to go deeper. We need to go deeper into safety. Just a few short weeks ago, the FMCSA revised the regulations for freight dispatchers. So now all of us as dispatchers, we should know it's totally legal to be a freight dispatcher. Knowing that, what you need to do, you need to give the most value you can to your owner operators. If that's a check call, if you tell your owner operators, if I give you a load after a certain time, or if you're in winter driving conditions, I'm going to do a check call. And that's my policy. That's what you need to be telling your owner operators. It's your policy that you're going to do a check call during, if they're driving after a certain time at night when the sun is down and they can get more tired, they can feel more fatigue. You need to be doing check calls and calling your driver. I don't care if it's every hour or every 30 minutes to make sure your driver is okay. Or if you're going to stay on the phone with your driver while they're driving, whatever you have to do, whatever you feel like whatever you feel like in your heart you can do to help your owner operators out, you need to do. So this was a very tragic situation in Wyoming. The driver fell asleep probably and began to veer into the median and try to oversteer, which led to the truck flipping over. So this is why you as dispatchers need to be doing check calls. I want you guys to click the link below to go to my blog post to learn more about what happened and to learn about check calls. And this is how you can help your owner operators in situations like this can be avoided. But if you guys need anything, go to my website, antoinewest.biz.